So in Football Manager, the game will select an all-time best 11 for the team that you're playing as. So that got me to thinking, what is Manchester United's all-time best 11? Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome to something a little bit different on the channel. I'm going to select a best 11, all-time best 11 for Manchester United, as you know the Football Manager game would do. Now, a few caveats to my selections. I'm limiting my time to just sort of Premier League era. Now, there's two reasons for this. The main reason is that these are the guys I've seen play. It does eliminate obviously a lot of good players, but I prefer to guys that I've seen play. I feel like I can relate better to who I'm picking. But also, I think it's difficult to compare eras, so I just think that if we do sort of Premier League era, so sort of early mid-90s onwards, the game hasn't changed too much. The back pass rule's been in, for example, the amount of distance covered by players in the game, that's all relatively the same. So that's what I've sort of the caveat, I suppose, to my selection. So let's start with goalkeeper, and I feel like it's a choice in two. It's a choice between Schmeichel, for me anyway, this is just my opinion obviously, a choice between Schmeichel and Van der Sar, and I just feel like as an all-round goalkeeper, Van der Sar is a little bit better, so I've got him as my goalkeeper. Schmeichel, I think, is maybe a bit better highlights player. Who doesn't love watching Kasper Schmeichel? What's his name? Peter Schmeichel. Goalkeeping highlights, the way he spread himself was iconic. But I just think as a solid goalkeeper, Van der Sar, for me, just takes the cake. Now, if we go across the back four, as a right back, I didn't like him as a player. I've got to say, he's very likeable post-career. But Gary Neville, for me, has been, during the time period, the best right back that Manchester United have had. I don't know they've ever properly replaced him, have they? I'm probably forgetting somebody. But yeah, I just thought he was, rock solid there for what? Number of years, a decade or more. Left back, I've gone with Patrice Evra. I just feel like he was solid defensively, good getting forward, and well, you don't play for Manchester United for that long if you're not very good, do you? And that leaves us with the two centre-backs in terms of a defence, and I don't think I'm going to have anybody disagree with this. I'm sure if you go back through the history of Manchester United, there's maybe one or two other central defenders that could come into conversation. But for me, both individually and as a duo, Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic, they were just something else. They were so good. As I say, individually, but also as a partnership. So that is my back four. Now, I've gone with a 4-4-2 just to try and get in the players that I wanted to. So if we go with the centre of midfield, well, you can't go past Roy Keane in that time frame. I wouldn't have thought he was a leader on off the field. He was still in midfield, scored his fair share of goals getting forward as well. In using sort of Football Manager pylons, it's difficult to know if he was a ball-winning midfielder, a box-to-box midfielder. I mean, he could have been anything. He was really, I really liked him as a player. And next to him, there can only be Paul Scholes, but particularly latterly in his career when he sat back a little bit deeper. I think Keane and Scholes as a duo then, because obviously they played together, didn't they? But Scholes at that point was a much more attacking player. But I think next to each other is as a sort of more central midfielders than necessarily sort of shadow striker sort of players. I think Keane and Scholes would have been absolutely magnificent. Now, right side of midfield, it's tough not to pick Beckham, isn't it? But I have gone with Cristiano Ronaldo. Now is different to what the player was that when he was first there. This is sort of first spell Cristiano Ronaldo, and he wasn't the player that he went on to be maybe at Real Madrid, but there certainly was. He was still a world-class winger back in those days. So he goes down the right, and down the left is Ryan Giggs. It's easy to forget how good he was as a winger back in when he was sort of in his 20s, early 30s. He had dribbling of 20, didn't he? He was a magnificent dribbler of the ball, and yeah, it's one of those where I think in real life, his career sort of wound down and he lost that pace. He was still a good player, but he wasn't brilliant. But I think in his day, he was absolutely brilliant. And that leaves us with the two strikers. Well, the first one, I think the record goal scorer has to be there, doesn't he? Wayne Rooney. He was brilliant for Manchester United. Maybe had these ups and downs with the fans and contract disputes and things like that, but to be the all-time leading goal scorer for, you know, a club like Manchester United, you've got to be you've got to be in the team. And the second striker, maybe, I don't know. I always like this guy, which is why I picked him, because, you know, I can, because it's my team. But I've gone with Ruud van Nistelrooy. I always say he was just such a good goal scorer. He just always was there, always put his chances away, and just the name Ruud van Nistelrooy was a great name as well. So that's the team that I've got him picked. Let me know in the comments where I've gone wrong, where you think I've got right. I'm curious to see what other people would pick as their Manchester United all-time 11. You don't have to limit yourself to just Premier League era. You can be even more, you know, a smaller window or a bigger window if you want to do all-time. Then you got like Dennis Law and Best and all sorts of other guys that would come into contention then. But just for me, these are the guys that I've seen play, so that is who I have gone with. So if you are new to the channel just discovering this, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos, and yeah, don't forget to like this one as well. And like I say, leave me your feedback, who you think is your all-time Manchester United 11. Take care.